Hello, and welcome to Creating Effective Presentations for Adult Learners. My name is Pauline Cox. Let's get started. Andragogy is defined as the understanding and science of adult learning. The American educator Malcolm Knowles is well known for developing his learning principles about adult learners. This included his 6 principles and his 5 assumptions about how adults learn. Today, we will begin with his 5 assumptions. In the article about Malcolm Knowles by Maestro Learning, it discusses the first assumption as being that adults have a self-concept. This means adults become more self-directed as they mature and will seek out their own learning experiences and opportunities. The second assumption is learner experience. Adults bring a wealth of life experiences to the learning process, and these experiences must be honored and utilized to create a truly effective learning opportunity. The third assumption is regarding the readiness to learn. Adults want to learn things that help them accomplish relevant tasks, and so need presentations and assignments that are relevant to their current life situation or goals. The last 2 assumptions include orientation to learning and motivation to learn. Orientation to learning means that adult learners want to understand how to problem solve effectively. Adults do best when presented with scenario-based learning opportunities that allow them to practice problem-solving skills. The final assumption is motivation to learn. Adults rely on internal rather than external motivation to complete their learning tasks and education. These can be different for each person and may include things like working towards a raise or promotion, improving a skill set, or improving their lives outside of work. Understanding and applying each of these assumptions will help us to create more effective professional development for our adult learners. It is important to apply andragogical principles to the professional development you create. Using what you know about your adult students, how they learn, and what motivates them will allow you to create seminars and workshops that are relevant, effective, and will be genuinely useful to you and your staff. In short, effective teaching produces effective learning. Keeping best practice in mind when creating professional development is always important. Here are 5 quick strategies you could use when developing sessions. First is to keep things relevant to your adult learners' lives. Allow them to see how and why the information applies to them and envision where they could implement it. Second is to focus on life experiences so your learners can connect and relate to the material at hand. Third is to teach using stories. Much like life experience, adult learners will better interact with what is being presented when they can relate and connect emotionally through a real-life story. Fourth is to encourage adult learners to ask questions, collaborate, and have discussions with one another. Most adults will be able to better process and retain information if they are able to discuss it within the context of their own lives and situations. The last strategy is to provide immediate feedback when they are learning and practicing something new. This allows them to make immediate adjustments and gives them the confidence to try again and work to master the new skill. Finally, it is important to ensure that your personal biases, both explicit and implicit, do not affect the quality of the presentation or the comfort of your participants. It is unfortunately very easy to make assumptions about others based on their gender, race, or culture. People tend to be very intuitive about how others treat them and will quickly lose respect for those whom they feel are treating them with a negative bias. Once respect is lost, it is much more difficult for learning to happen. The first step to diminishing or eliminating your implicit bias is understanding and identifying what they are and doing the work to ensure that your learners are not affected. A great way to reduce these biases is by actively getting to know your students prior to the session. You can also come into the experience with an open mindset and ensure that you are providing equitable opportunities for all learners. Without taking these intentional steps, you could not only reduce the effectiveness of your presentation by incorrectly representing a culture or group, but you could also lose your professional credibility due to your implicit personal biases. Don't give up. Though it takes work, diminishing your implicit bias will make you a more effective educator. Thank you for your attention. Now go out and create effective presentations for your adult learners.